Welcome to this presentation of PlanningForce. Most PMOs, project managers, and CFOs complain about planning tools that are static, manual, and completely unrealistic. You will discover in this presentation how PlanningForce's methodology and unique scheduling engine allow professionals to make realistic plans regarding project deliveries, give a realistic estimation of the project costs, plan resources efficiently, anticipate and deal with risks like absentees, storms, market slumps, accidents. Now let's get down to the application and meet Jim to see how he uses PlanningForce to create and optimize in a few minutes his project and resource portfolios while planning and scheduling them concurrently. Jim will achieve this in 4 distinct phases. First phase. He defines the project structure in a Gantt chart by using the well-known concepts of tasks, task groups, dependencies, and lags. He creates his resources and defines their capacity and their roles in the company. Then he defines the task requirements, saying what role or what specific resource each task needs to be performed correctly. Second phase. At this stage, Jim could launch the scheduling process. But Jim is a realistic project manager, and he knows that his initial Gantt chart is way too optimistic and has little chance to be carried out as it is. Why? Just because some tasks might be postponed or be more difficult than foreseen. Some technical problems might occur. Some people might be sick, or others who are new in the company still need training. Realistic dimensions such as skill levels, individual calendars, learning curves, absentee rates, or risk coefficients are easily modeled in PlanningForce and applied by Jim to his tasks and resources, which now reflect the company he works for. Third phase. Jim defines the scope of projects and resources, including or excluding some of them, setting up priorities and imposing constraints and goals. He defines the time horizon for his plan and the scheduling precision he wants on the short, medium, and long terms. Once he has hit the scheduling button, he just has to wait a few seconds for PlanningForce automatically to produce and display an optimized plan alongside its resource allocation. While the calculation is running, let me explain the interest of using the PlanningForce automatic scheduling engine. Up until now, Jim has made all his planning and scheduling calculations manually. This is a tedious, time-consuming, and stressful job, because Jim has to find a solution which meets everyone's requirements or expectations. Customers need delivery on time, and employees need fair treatment, while the company wants Jim to stay in line with budgets. Now that Jim has input all the relevant information into PlanningForce, its automatic scheduling engine is calculating an optimized plan for him. And it does it so fast that Jim probably won't have time to get a cup of coffee in the meantime. And here it is. Let's look at the different dimensions of PlanningForce results with Jim. First, he receives the output Gantt, which is the realistic plan resulting from the computation of all task requirements, calendars, risks, priorities, constraints, and goals. The output Gantt displays the realistic task dates and durations, and the corresponding allocated resources. In the lower part, Jim can check the role usage relative to their availability. In the progress forecast, Jim can follow the expected concurrent progress of all projects and also predict the progression of his global project portfolio. The Allocations tab displays the resource schedules, so Jim can easily answer the basic question, who does what, when? Resource usage shows how the total capacity of a resource or group of resources will be used according to the plan. This total capacity is divided into unavailability, remaining availability, inefficient allocations, and efficient allocations. The Cash Flow tab displays the expected future cash flows related to the plan, so Jim can answer questions like, when will his project portfolio become profitable? Or, how much working capital do we need? KPIs are statistics represented in pie charts that give Jim a quick overview of his plan's performance. And of course, Jim can print all these data into reports, which have been conceived to bring real added value thanks to easy reading and intelligent aggregations. Fourth phase. After reviewing the results, Jim realizes he can improve his plan by modifying the relevant dimensions. In this fourth phase, what Jim will do is test several variations or simulations of his plan. And he can do this very easily thanks to the automatic snapshot feature. Every change made to his initial plan is saved in a new simulation. At the end of this process, Jim compares the different simulations from several aspects and finally chooses the one that best matches his goal. But Jim's story doesn't stop here. Indeed, Jim's plan will evolve, and some events could impact his initial plan. For example, a new project has to be carried out urgently, or a critical resource will be unavailable for several months. So Jim has to adapt his initial plan to reflect task progress as well as these events. In PlanningForce, replanning is just a matter of seconds, so Jim can easily give quick responses to any change in the course of his initial plan and, in the plan tracker, follow its history. By doing this, Jim keeps all the information that will help him review the global plan upon completion. Now, maybe you are thinking about selecting a new planning tool. Let's review the main advantages of PlanningForce compared to its competitors. With PlanningForce, you will plan your complete project and resource portfolios concurrently and not have to concentrate solely on individual projects or resources. With PlanningForce, you will make the most of your resources through their specific roles, calendars, skills, levels, and efficiencies. With PlanningForce, you will model and apply risk coefficients to your tasks and resources, so you can produce realistic task durations and workloads. With PlanningForce, you will generate and compare different planning simulations, so you can choose the one that best matches your priorities, objectives, and constraints. PlanningForce also offers you the possibility of imagining and creating the scenarios which will allow you to meet future challenges, be they positive or negative. And for example, answer questions like, what is the real added value of a future potential project? Or what is the impact of subcontractors' bankruptcy? And thanks to its unique scheduling engine, PlanningForce will allow you to calculate realistic planning dates in seconds, schedule your resources without over-allocation, and produce realistic budgeting, so you can know the real added value of any of your projects precisely. Grab the opportunities your plan holds. Choose PlanningForce, your best ally for the future.